advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
All right. I think I actually started the live tonight without putting half my backstage guests on screen when they're picking their nose, some of them not expecting to be alive. Although I didn't mute my song in the middle of it. I think that was my co-host that just muted our music in the middle of the song. So Robin, no, she's shaking her head no. Like all of a sudden it says your microphone's been muted by the host, and I'm like, how did my microphone get muted? Anyway, so I will eventually get back on schedule with not having some kind of technical difficulties. You see how I grabbed Robin and I threw her ass right underneath the bus and I ran her over and I backed up over top of her as well. So that's what I do. So anyways, the point being is that we're working on trying to have the show start on time. I'm assuming because my guests are laughing that they hear me talking, even though I sometimes ask for a one to make sure that you guys hear us. But I mean, my microphone looks on. Everything looks good. Welcome to everybody that's in the house. I'll say some quick hellos to 1-1, Amanda, of course, Essie. We got Robin backstage. We've got Penny. We've got Foxy Rose, and we got read some of the comments on stage with that. Diana Draper, 940. Welcome to the house, and thank you for the loves there. Star. We're just going to abbreviate that as Star. I think you said I could do that before because that's a long name. Thank you for coming in regular to the show. Troubled Ocean as well. Welcome to the show, regular. regular here. Good to see you all the time. Like I would think. In fact, the numbers are a little low tonight. It's a Friday night. I'm like, everybody's out beer drinking. They're beer drinking on a Friday night. They're out having parties Friday nights. I don't know. I haven't checked the numbers to see how Fridays normally do, but I would expect people to be doing other things like partying or something. Essie in the house. We've got Nanum 2511. Good evening from Los Angeles. Thanks for giving your location. I love hearing the location. Christine Hurd says Birdie's on right now. Birdie's on right now. I believe there's a photo of Gunderson taking off his gloves by the garage cans in front of 1122. Nobody seems to care. Or are those the ones Chris McDonough finally found later? Yeah, so I did, obviously I'm not watching Birdies right now, so we'll have to check that out later to see what he's shown on that thing. There's always stuff going on. Like this, all of these creators are resurfacing old videos, old body cams, relooking at the old files and finding new things. It's a really exciting time for those who are pressing for truth and justice in this case. I've got exciting things to share with that as well. Open your peepers. Hello, everybody, she says, or he says. Is it a he or a she? Probably a she, right? Breezes, is in the house. Who else do we have? I think we're pretty much caught up. So let me bring my guest here. By the way, we're damn near back to a full panel. Let's bring people on maybe one at a time. Robin, I might even pin you full screen when you talk. Tell us how you're doing tonight.
Well, I'm doing good. I promise you it wasn't me that
I don't know. It said the host.
It
could have been one. I realized it could have been one because I forgot you guys both have controls on my system now. So maybe it was me. And somehow, we will blame him. Since it's you and I on camera right now, actually, it's you on camera, me talking to you. We'll blame him and we'll just call that good. Anything exciting going on in your world today?
Well, I'm really excited. As of Monday, I won't be a toothless wonder anymore. I'll get my new choppers. So I'm excited.
Nice. That's very cool. I'm a one toothless wonder because I had that molar extracted and I still have a hole in my face and I need to go back and talk to the dentist and see what my options now for whether I'm filling the hole or leaving it or whatever. It's totally weird. Your tongue wants to seek out the missing gap that was there, and it's just weird. And I can't chew on one side of my face very well. It's just a whole thing. Anyways, life really goes on. This first, I think it's the first tooth I've ever had extracted. So that was kind of weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we won't go into detail about that because my wife gets the heebie-jeebies when you get that popping sound as your tooth comes out. Oh, yeah. Anyways, that was fun. But it was a clean extract, and they said that they've never seen a tooth go that good. I think what the assistant said. They're like, holy crap, that just came right out. So, okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and here I talked about it. All right, let's add another guest onto the screen. Let's see here. We're going to go to this mode, and we're going to pin 1-1. 1-1, tell us how you're doing tonight. Oh, I have you muted. Hold on, I have you muted. See, payback's a bit. You muted my music. Now I'm going to mute you. All right, let's try that again.
Yeah. Good evening, Dan. How is everyone? Good to be alive in the den on a Friday night. Live from New York.
It's Saturday. Wait, it's
Friday night.
It's amazing. It's funny when you're up close and personal in the camera like that, and somebody was like, "Holy crap! 1-1 on an 80-inch TV is just freaking insane." And I can see why. You're like coming right at people, like, "Hello!" You're right in their face. That's right. And again, watch those glasses, man.
And I'll add a third line to my intro. I am not retired. For those of you, no, it's fine. I'm not a detective and I'm not retired, but all good.
Yeah, we were teasing because I was watching a clip from Phoenix Talks, and she was like, "Yeah, we've got a retired detective in the house at 1-1," and I'm like, "Oh, that's news to me." Like now I'm gonna check my friends. Does she know you better than I do? Are you a detective and you're retired? Because I thought that was not the case, but whatever the case may be, it's okay. It was probably an assumption on her part, and it's all good. So. Great news. We've got Jason Estes back backstage. I'm bringing people on in the order kind of that they joined tonight. So don't feel slighted if you're last in line, Joe. He's like hanging like, what the hell, man? Everybody's getting top billing but me. No, he's not saying that because I can't hear him. But we are going to bring Estes on screen. We're going to give you full screen. What's going on? You've been sick lately. Tell us how things are now.
Are we live?
We are. We are live.
One sec, sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. What did you ask me again?
I said, how are you doing? You've been sick, right, lately?
Yes, with the illness. I don't know if it's the same one as 1-1. Maybe it was COVID-19, and I don't even know. But we're over it now.
COVID-20.
COVID-20. We're getting better and just about over it. And thank you guys and gals for asking for how my health is, Robin and DA. And can I address your audience right now briefly?
You're doing it. Do it.
The amazing audience, really directly right to them right now, because once again, I want to say, again, it's great to be with all of you out there. I know eventually thousands of people are going to watch these lives. And I want to say respectfully, audience, again, put on your house coat, would you? Maybe a pair of slippers, sit by the fire, okay? Maybe grab a hot cup of cocoa as well, and join us for a while. And why? Because as I've said before, this is the most entertaining, thoughtful, and thought-provoking, I believe, YouTube true crime channel out there. And DA and Robin and the guests, you were obviously a huge part of this. You're the creme of the creme. And finally, I just want to say to the audience as well, get ready for a deep dive and cacophony called the CAD conversation. And you know what it's going to be on the Idaho 4 and much more, my friends. Thank you for listening. Now, take it away.
Oh my gosh! So your royalty check is in the mail. It should be there pretty soon for your sales pitch. It's fantastic. I appreciate that very much. You are an energy. What is this shirt that you got on? I'm trying to catch this shirt. That? What is this? What does that say? Bandar. What does it say?
Dude, I don't even know. I would literally have to go half naked to look at the name. But you know what? I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to get off camera. Right back.
Oh, fantastic. In the meantime, while he's getting naked, maybe thank God he went off screen to get naked. We'll maybe add Joe to the stage and we'll get ready, but we're going to put Estes full screen when he comes back, hopefully dressed. We'll see how that pans out. In the meantime, while he's doing it, let's just bring Joe a full screen up here and you should be unmuted. How are you doing tonight, Joe?
Not as good as Estes, apparently.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not naked, and I don't have a quite as eloquent a greeting for everybody, but I wanted to send a special shout out to our friends at the CIA. I tip my hat to them.
What's that about? Are we being watched by the CIA today or every day?
What do you think?
Probably every day. Probably every day. Yeah.
It's good.
Well, it's good to see you on screen. It's good to see you again. I know you've been kind of fighting some illness as well, right? So are you back to 100% or?
No, I literally just today I just started feeling under the weather.
Oh, so you're on the downward slide. Yeah.
Just a little, probably a little old cold. No, nothing serious. I'm not worried.
Well, that's good. Like everybody's getting sick around us right now, and I was gonna bring Estes back on screen, but that guy is still ghosting on me. Like he comes and he goes from his screen. So we'll go to a full panel. We'll all wait for the mysterious Estes to get back in a position where his green screen picks him up. But the panel is here. Again, it's a relatively low night as far as attendance. So let me put up on. This is a great opportunity then for us to give you an invite to come up on stage if you've got the nerve to do so. I really encourage you to do it. We do not bite. The panel is really good. If you want to ask a question of myself or any of the specific panelists, or just want to give a food for thought and then step off and let the panelists riff off of what you say, this is a great opportunity for you to come up. You are welcome to disagree with anything I say or any of the panelists say, if you do so in a polite and respectful manner. We are all about dialogue. We don't believe in this channel, as we talked about if you were watching previous shows, that words are violence, that somehow if you speak words that other people don't like, you're being violent. We don't believe that. So having a difference of opinion is not violence. What did you learn? What did you learn there, Estes? I see you changed your shirt. You went naked and now you're good.
Yes, you know what? I hope somebody can help me with this one day. I can't even read the letters. Can you believe it? Even with these amazing reading glasses, my new reading glasses, I can't read them. But it does say on the side, you better watch out. It says industry darkness on right here. Industry darkness.
To do darkness.
That's kind of fitting for the show.
I mean, it's fantastic. It takes a man to put a shirt on. You don't know what it's saying on the front. It could be saying in a foreign language, "I'm a retard. Look at my shirt." You don't know that's saying that. So,
Oh shit!
Esty, lift it up a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can take a crack at it.
Yeah. Look, go stand up and be real still. Stand up so you can see it.
All right. Straighten it out. Yeah, hold on. All right, BLA. It says black.
Oh, don't move.
Blackard.
Yeah, blackard and darkness. Blackard and darkness. I'll go for that for $20.
Or it says blacker and it just has a little fancy thing at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's like an eye reading test.
I just love all this attention.
Did somebody say it says Buffalo? I don't think it says Buffalo. I'm pretty sure.
It looks like to me it says I love Pav. Sorry.
No way, man.
Does that say Pavarotti?
This shows my face. I'm more masculine than Pavarotti could ever be.
It says, "Kiss me if you wear a beanie." Is what it says. So yeah. Oh yeah. Good thing Joe doesn't have his beanie on tonight. He has more of a different kind of cap.
So someone said it looks like a Leonard Skinner shirt. It
I know
does.
Kind of does. Yeah.
The letters don't look like Skinner lettering, but it's got like a lot of the similar kind of touchstones of a Skinner concert shirt.
Wow.
And then all we know is he's got his camera mirrored, and so it's all backwards, and we're trying to make the word be right forward when it's really backwards or some shit. Anyways, we have gone off the rails a little bit tonight to start the show. Let me introduce a little bit of the topics again that are going to be on hand tonight. We're going to talk about the topics that I cover on my show, and I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to put the right thing on screen because one of these days I'll get even smoother with it because I'm not so smooth. Smooth criminal. All right, so let's move the banner. This is the warning as I remove the parental advisory explicit content warning. You have been warned. I dropped some F-bombs. Oh yeah, and somebody reminded me today, DA, I stopped listening to you immediately when you say the F-bomb. I can't tolerate that later. And I'm like, okay, so it sucks that you would get in the way of a good message because there's a naughty word that your ears can't hear, because you're missing a lot of great stuff if you tune out the second somebody says a naughty word. So it's unfortunate. I'm not meaning to pick on that someone, but hopefully you guys can get over. Yes, there's a little bit of some rough language from time to time, but I'm hoping that you understand that the message is important. And if I get fired up and drop an F-bomb, tuning out and stop listening to somebody because they said a word you find offensive is kind of not the way we want to go. You want to keep your mind open and be like, you know what, I'm going to overlook that I don't necessarily like the language you use. Is the message correct? So hopefully you'll stay with that. That was one of those peanut gallery kind of comments that I want to drop. Some people, of course, don't mind that we have the F-bombs in here every so often. This is my show. This is my panel guest. This is what we call now the advocates. I was started this channel as the Devil's Advocates with one other person. Then he kind of dropped out and it became me. This is the Devil's Advocate, but we already formed an LLC with the Advocates plural. And now I have a panel that I'm calling the Advocates. So it all worked out in the end. And so it's very cool. And we're kind of developing a thing here. We've got some regular panelists that have different specialties. Our panel, by the way, is put together with different specialties. We've got people who are great at administrative stuff. We've got people who are law enforcement and have expertise in law enforcement. We got people who are just freaking fantastic showmen and comedic relief. I won't mention who these people are. We've got people who are intellectuals and deep thinkers. And in fact, I would say all of us are a little bit of all of those things, probably in some regard, but some of us are better at it than others. And so we have this great panel that's a great mix of all of us. So I'm glad that you're here and that you enjoyed this. We do this nightly, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Sundays, I tend not to be here, but my panel faithfully runs the show without me, so I can take the night off. One of these nights, I might join in as a guest on my own show. That's always weird. I'm trying to fight that control part of me that's like, what the hell's happening on my show when I'm not there? I need to check in on it. And I'm trying to let it go. Like when I'm playing cards with friends, I'm playing cards on Sunday. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing on my show right now? I got to check in. And my wife's like, put the phone down. You're not working. Okay. So that's something I'm still working on, because I do take a lot of pride and ownership in this channel. As I know you guys who aren't even, officially owners of the channel, but you guys take pride in it like it's your own baby. And so I appreciate that as well. And all of you that do work on the back end that aren't here tonight, that do graphics work for us and music work for us and administrative tasks for us and promoting us and shit. There's so many people that do so many things for this channel. I wished I could pay everybody. I can't. We're too small. But I appreciate all of the love and support. And I know that a lot of people tell me on a regular basis they believe in the mission that we're doing. So let's talk about some of that mission. At the Devil's Advocates, the primary thing is think about the title. Playing Devil's Advocates means when you've got a story and it sounds like it's one way, I'll play devil's advocates with that and say, what if it didn't happen that way? We particularly do this with mainstream, high-profile stories in which the media seems to be telling you only one side of the narrative, especially when they forget the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. I'm big on constitutional rights. I like to break legal documents down. I like to cover the court cases in the fight as they talk about people's civil liberties being violated. It's not okay with me to break the law while trying to prosecute somebody via the law. If you're going to be a nation of laws, then follow the law. And that means even when you're getting the bad guy, you've got to do it legally. And that's not often the case. It seems like often the case is somebody broke a rule, bent something, did something wrong, and we have to hold them accountable. And maybe in some cases, a bad person or two has to go free in order to make a lesson. And maybe but the point being is we don't root for the bad guys. That's not what we do here. What we root for is constitutional issues. We root for transparency. We root for truth. And if they got the right guy, then so be it. Just get them correctly. Just get them right. Again, call-in guests are welcome tonight. I do too, and love everything the channel stands for. Thank you, Tiggo Biddies. Appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, have you noticed, Tiggo Biddies? I've gotten to the point where I don't laugh hysterically like a 15-year-old boy every single time I say your name. I have grown. I have matured. I used to not be able to say your name. I couldn't look you in the eyes and say your name, and now I'm like, it's Tiggo Biddies. Thank you for coming to the show. I have matured. Someone said I couldn't do it, but I have done it. So it's fantastic. All right. Again, call-in guests are welcome to the show. Robin, if you can post that link from time to time just to remind people if they want to come in. I know we don't seem to get people biting for it. We've had a few guests on here and it's been fantastic. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So far, whenever we had guests, it's been great. So please get past your nerves, come on up and join us. You'll be on a gigantic, somebody's 65 or 75 or 80-inch screen. Don't worry about that. Put that out of your head. It's okay. You'll get over it. And besides that, you can actually have an avatar on and just use the microphone if you want. We're going to talk about the public records fund that I've got going in Idaho 4. We're going to talk about Luigi's suppression hearing day 4. In case you didn't know, that didn't happen today. And it's a hysterical story to me. It's actually funny why we didn't have day 4 of the suppression hearings. And I'm not sure everybody caught it. So I'm going to make sure you catch it because I think it's funny. All right. So let's move into one more thing, a plug for my merchandise. I do have the holiday special going on, 30% off of my jerseys that are in the merchandise shop. I bought these jerseys a long time ago. We sold a lot less than I expected to, so they're sitting in boxes, and I'm trying to practically give it away. So I've got it marked 30% off. The shipping is probably lower than it's going to cost me to ship to you, so all the way around, I'm losing money on it, but I'd rather you wear my merchandise out there and represent the channel and have somebody, if one person wears my merchandise and someone says, what the hell is a Devil's Advocates? You'll be like, well, yeah, you check out the YouTube channel, and then there we go. Maybe one more person will sign up. That's worth its weight in gold. So anyways, check it out. I had a little cool video of my wife modeling the stuff. People who have it or have these merchandise have bought it have all been pleased. I haven't heard anybody, not a single person has returned their merchandise because they were unhappy with what they got. Almost everybody says, no, not almost, everyone without exception has said that they like the merchandise. So I've never had a complaint whatsoever. So it's good stuff. All right, here are the 5 cases I cover. Our format generally that I'm trying to work, I'm working on a format. I like to formalize things a little while allowing us to go off the rails. I'm the kind of guy when you take on a trip somewhere to Vegas, I'm the guy with the itinerary, but I leave slip room in there on the itinerary. Okay, like, look, if we really want to spend an extra 15 minutes here, we can just drop this off the thing. Didn't work so good with Joe, by the way, because Joe and we were all over Moscow, and here's what's funny about Joe. And it's like, Joe, you're throwing me under the bus again. Here's what happened. It's funny. Joe and I went to Moscow, Idaho, and I had this laid out itinerary, and it was hilarious because I was feeling an extreme amount of anxiety because we were off my schedule, right? I had everything down to we got to be here at 8, we got to be here at 9, we got to do this, whatever. And when we got done or late in the thing, Joe said, you realize we've done everything on your list and then some. And I was like, yeah, like, why am I so anal that it has to happen at 8 or 9 or 10 when in reality we did everything on my list and then some? So Joe, I apologize for busting your nuts about like, dude, we got to be on schedule. Why the hell are we not out of the room right now? We need to be out of the room. Joe's a laid back kind of guy. Hey, dude, we'll just get there when we get there. And it was great. Like it worked. We did everything on our list, everything. And it was a good experience. I still loved the trip we did, Joe. I think it was great.
Yeah. And I'm not that laid back, but compared to you, I was.
I guess I've got a little OCD going, right? I'm trying to run a ship, right? I'm trying to run a ship.
Exactly. So but we did get everything done. We even got some chill time in, well, somewhat, we got to chill out a little bit, and we went to watch a UFC card at a bar.
Yeah.
And we got a lot done. So I think I was just that was my job for the trip, was to keep you centered as much as possible. So I took on the challenge.
Yeah.
And I think I accomplished that, and I think we got a lot out of it.
In front of the cops.
Yeah. Even though you almost wound up in MPD there.
which you guys have to see the video at some point.
Did we never play that? Did we never play the video?
No, you've never played that part of the video. And
damn it.
Because all right, so we were doing lives, right? We were literally driving around doing a live, right? Yeah. So I'm holding a phone. We got the camera falling off the freaking
birdseed
holder, dash, and the birdseed fucking bag, and all this stuff. And I'm trying to respond to the chat. The bird feed fucking camera pardon my language, kept falling off the dash. And then DA's like, the camera battery dies. So I'm like, dude, your camera is about to die. So he goes, oh shit. He pulls over. For anybody who didn't see the live, and I look to the right, and we're right in front of Moscow PD. And then I go, dude, we're sitting right in front of the police department. And then he goes, oh, okay. And then he pulls into the parking lot of the police department to change the battery in his phone. I'm like, did you have to pull in here? I'm like, they've got cameras here, dude. Now they're going to think we're like stalking the MPD.
Look, I said it before. I have no beef with law enforcement. I like law enforcement. So I don't consider myself their enemies. Maybe some of them, by the way, are going to take me off their Christmas card list this year. I guarantee that I'm not going to be on their Christmas card list this year. I'm going to show you some things that I've done to piss them off, but I don't mean to piss them off. Like I'm literally not intending to go to war with the police department. I'm just looking for truth and transparency, and I want to ask some questions. So yeah,
too late now.
Yeah, maybe I've made some enemies. We'll see. We'll
hey DA, can I just want to give a shout out to Cat Farm.
Yeah,
because
the
songs that Cat Farm has made are so epic. Like I listen to them. I listen to them like pretty regularly now. So tip of the hat to Cat Farm, everybody.
Cat Farm thinks we should public records request the video footage of us pulling into their parking lot. Say, I would like the footage on your parking lot at this date on this time, and we're like, hey, there we are from inside Moscow PD. We can request the footage.
Oh, that would be great.
That's hilarious. All right, let me put back on the screen and get through our stuff. We covered Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We cover Luigi Manjon. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight as well. We're going to probably put a hold on the Long Island serial killer case for the moment and the Mickey Steins case for the moment. So I like to do about the first hour on one primary case, which has been hot and heavy, Idaho 4. Then we're going to talk about a half hour or so on Charlie Kirk, a half hour or so on Luigi Manjon. And actually, I don't have a half hour of stuff to talk about Luigi because again, Luigi Manjon didn't have day 4 of the suppression hearings today, and that's a funny story, but it doesn't take long to tell you that they didn't have court today. But there is an article that I want to read about it as well. So let's talk about Idaho 4 a little bit. Now, what I want to remind you is yesterday, was it just yesterday? Time flies so fast. I think just yesterday, I decided to go full in on Well, okay, 2 days ago, I started writing letters for public records requests, and I intend to, if it has to go to that point, I intend to file criminal complaints against the process, Moscow Police Department, state of Idaho, blocking people from public records that we're supposed to have access to. As the public, we're allowed to have access to that, and they're blocking it, contrary to Hitler's orders. If you've been watching Lana from Truth and Transparency, she will point out, the judge even told them, redact stuff that you're redacting, and they're still redacting it. So Lana is already proceeding with an appeal to say, I asked for it, you told me no. Hitler said the answer has to be yes, so obey the law, obey the judge in this case. So good for her, she's a little ahead of me, but I'm on my own path as well. And yes, for those of you who are asking, how come you guys don't get on the same page? We're working on, I'm working on it. Like, I'm reaching out to other people who told me I'm going to sue MPD, and by the way, I don't like the word sue MPD. That's not my intention. My intention is not to sue people. My intention is to request politely. I'm going to ask. I know their answer is going to be no. Don't get me wrong. I know their answer is going to be no. And I know they're going to give me the runaround. And I know they're going to tell me that they need $20,000 to make photocopies and shit like that. Like they've already done. They've already done that. I know they're going to do that. But I'm going to ask nice. It's like the old, way back old movie with Patrick Swayze where he says, be nice until it's time not to be nice. So we're going to start to be nice. Roadhouse. Roadhouse. He was a bouncer teaching other bouncers, and he said, be nice until it's time not to be nice. Right. So that is a Patrick Swayze line. My wife's a huge fan of Patrick Swayze to this day. She's still like, oh my God, we had lost Patrick Swayze. Anyways, yeah. So I just remember that line clearly. Whenever I say I'm going to be nice, I keep hearing Patrick Swayze in my head. He lives rent free. Be nice until it's time not to be nice. So we're going to start by being nice. And so what I've done is I filed 4 letters, I think, on day one out of my own pocket. And they all went certified mail. So they went certified with read receipts. That cost about $10 a letter. And I sent out 4 letters. So I lost like $40 the first day, sending stuff to MPD, basically saying, hey, can you please explain to me why under oath Corporal Payne, the lead in this investigation, said that they had never heard of Brian Kohberger's name until December 19th under oath about 5 times when Ann Taylor asked him about it. And yet, recently released documents from the Idaho State Forensic Lab show that you guys gave them a report on December 5th with Brian Kohberger's name listed as a suspect along with somebody else that you've hidden and redacted. Why, for God's sake, are there 2 suspects listed and you still haven't told us about the other suspect? And why did you tell us that you only heard of Brian Kohberger on the 19th when you clearly knew about him on the 5th because you sent the report to Idaho with Brian Kohberger's name on it? So I've called them on the table with that, and I wrote them letters, and I sent that letter to Moscow Police Department's Chief Dallinger. Chief Dallinger knows who I am, whether he knows who I am or not, because Chief Dallinger looked me in the eyes multiple times at the press conference that he wouldn't take my hand when I was raising my hand. He looked me right in the eyes and just ignored me like I was a piece of crap. I'm sure it's not going to get any better for me and Chief Dallinger, but I wrote to him. I also wrote to Gardner, I think it was, from the Idaho State Police, their lead over there in Idaho State Police, and the attorney, the city attorney, Mia, in Moscow. So they all got letters basically saying, can you please explain? And it was a very detailed letter. I basically said, can you explain to me the answer, why he said this, and yet your records show this? And was an investigation ever given into why he was wrong about that, and clarified for the public why there's a discrepancy? Why did you tell the public you'd never heard of Brian Kohberger until the 19th when you clearly knew about him on the 5th? Please explain that to the public. So they're gonna get pissed. They're gonna get angry. It's certified letters that went. They have to sign for it. I'm gonna know who signed for it and picked it up, so they can't pull the game, as is often the case with these agencies that want to give the runaround. Hey, we didn't get that letter. Sorry, file it again. They'll play that game unless you send them certified mail, which is why it costs a bunch of money. Then the next day, I went full in on the Brent Kopacka stuff. I asked Idaho to acknowledge whether they ever were given the name Brent Kopacka as a suspect in this case and what files they have on it. I asked them, I asked Moscow Police Department everything that they've had and everything they knew about Brent Kopacka, every run-in that they've had. I've asked Whitman County Sheriff's Office what they knew about Brent Kopacka, because I know he's had multiple run-ins with law enforcement in that. So I asked for it all. What is the history of Brent Kopacka? When did you guys have his name? Was he ever investigated or considered on any paperwork as one of the suspects potentially that you were looking into? And if he was, how did you rule him out? Again, I have no belief that they'll acknowledge that they know who Kopacka is. They're going to lie. They're going to say that they didn't. That's my guess, and I will push on them because I know that they did. I know they did. People have made public they had a tip line and people called in Brent Kopacka's name. It's out there and everybody's talked about it. They've already been given the name. So they have heard Brent Kopacka's name. So they better not, in my opinion, say we never heard of the guy, because they have. And we know they have. So now the question is, we're playing the game of forcing them to admit, yeah, we knew about him. Here's the day we knew about him, and this is why we ruled him out. By the way, Robin, again, pay attention to the chat, because I can't as much when I'm on these rants. I don't know if there's anything we need to address. So if you want to support this cause, please go to our GoFundMe page, the Support Transparency in Moscow, Idaho. There's a GoFundMe thing. She can also put the link if she hasn't done it in the chat. In the first about 24 hours, we've raised about $300 with people giving donations. And if you think about each letter is costing me about $10, that's what, 30 letters? So that's 30 letters that I can send. I've already sent out another 5 letters today. I'm hesitant whether I'm going to show them or read them to you, because you probably don't want me to just read the letters to you. It's a lot of Brent Kopacka and Brett Payne stuff. What I asked, to give you the summary, okay, and if you want me to read it, I'll read it online. But what I asked is this, to various agencies. 5 letters went out. I would like to know the military history of Brent Kopacka and Brett Payne, both of which served in the 82nd Airborne Division. I want to know what dates of service they were there, what their MOS was, what their specialty was, what they did as a job inside the, like, for example, Brett Payne allegedly was an MP, military police. I asked for what their duty was, what their discharge papers were, all kinds of things I asked for. And I also asked for their family members. Is there anybody else in their family that is known to be in the military? These things were all stuff we can ask for. And by the way, I got to do it as a member of the media. Media gets special privileges. They get a cheaper rate when they ask for things. And I said, look, I am representing the media. I've double checked. Our channel is 100% considered media. We have every right that CNN has, every right that Fox has. So I am representing myself as media and asking for media response to these inquiries. So I will press forward with that if they give me the runaround, and I expect they will. And that's going to take time and effort. And again, if you guys want to talk about or see the letters specifically, to see the stuff that because there are stuff that until I read the letter again, I'll be like, oh, by the way, this is why I'm asking that question. So if you want to get into that, we will. Lana. So Lana's efforts. Lana from Truth and Transparency. I know I'm talking a lot. Okay, wait, panelists, before I get into Lana's thing, let's talk about the general GoFundMe thing and this process that we're doing. Are you guys all for it or not? By the way, I will stop talking in a minute. I don't do well at it, but I am also reaching out to a couple of lawyers to have them come on and talk to us about the process of filing public records requests. But what do you guys have? Do any of you guys have any experience with public records requests and FOIA requests and fighting that process?
I do not, but I think it's wonderful. I think, some people are like, well, it's going to be a waste of time. But I disagree, because if we don't keep pushing, regardless, staying silent is, not trying at all is worse than trying and, hopefully getting somewhere. So
yeah, no, it absolutely has to be done. I'm sure they're going to reply back with some kind of nonsense, oh, yeah, well, we'll get you this info for $75,000 or some ridiculous thing, which is that's a whole nother issue. But I mean, some of this stuff is getting beyond ridiculous now. I mean, there is a specific, hearing from and a decision from Hitler himself, saying certain things, certain names. As long, I mean, if you see the list of, I don't remember the number of the document, but there's one of the documents that lists like all the witnesses, and it lists like a bunch of evidence stuff, and they basically like a response that Lana had gotten was that it violates their their privacy or whatever. Well, if there is something, if there's like a name about like a certain recording or a certain piece of evidence, how is that violating someone's right to privacy? It's ridiculous. Right. So I mean, and Hitler he said that they're all, and why, that specific thing is also a big deal, because once they, if we get them to unredact that list of names, then we can go back. You don't have to play like, oh, what do these initials mean in the in the document? What does this mean? What does that mean? Because it's all supposed to be unredacted. He
Right.
issued it. I don't understand what the problem is, you know?
Right. And so, that's what my slide basically says. So the way I understood Lana's argument is she requested, they had an index, they had an index
Yeah.
that listed witnesses, right? And they had it all redacted. And she requested an unredacted list of those names from the index, because as she argued, you can't ask for a specific document you don't know what it is. If you don't know who the person is, how do you say, can you please give me information about somebody I don't know who it is? It's on your list. Like, no, you got to have a name, but they're hiding the name for you. So you can't properly form or file a request for names that you don't know exist. And they're hiding the names, so you can't even request it. By the way, they're doing the same runaround to me. So I don't know how they're going to respond to these certified letters, but what Moscow Police Department wants you to do is they want to tell you, go to our website and file a request there. That's how you request our records, is through the website. You can't explain to them the fuckery that they're doing on their website. There's no room for you to write, by the way, you're required by law to answer this. I'm a member of the press. I'm asking these questions for this reason, and you must comply. There's no room for that. It's check a box and tell me what the number is on the file and request it there. And they want to just stonewall you and say, nope, you need to go to the website. That's how you file requests. Nope, I'm sorry. That's why I'm sending it as a certified letter. That's why if you don't respond to the certified letter, I will take it to the district attorney if I have to the state of Idaho, and I will tell them you're not complying with the law, and we'll push it further if we have to. That's where we're going to have to go if they keep playing these games of fuckery, where they act like we just have to play by their rules. They have laws that they have to play by too. And so I'm going to have to learn the law real quick, and I'm going to have to cite the law to them and teach them about the law, I think. But again, the deck's stacked against us. Don't get me wrong. They know how to play this game better than we do. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best. But anyways, Lana's complaining because Moscow's police department didn't comply with her request. They still didn't give her the unredacted list, and they were late as well. They have a requirement to do it in a timely fashion. I think she submitted the request in November, didn't get an answer until maybe December, so they took a little longer than they should. So she's like, "Look, you have a requirement to respond in a timely fashion. You didn't do that, and you still didn't give me dick." And Hippler said, "You do have to give me dick." No pun intended. And so the point being is that she's filing an appeal, as she should. And I fully support her appeal. Now, if there's any way that we can all get on the same page, fantastic. And yeah, so Fiji said she paid a lot of money for that. Yeah, this process. And if she's got a lot of money, good for her. I don't have a lot of money, so that's why I'm asking for help. That's why I'm asking for the GoFundMe thing. Everything that you donate to the GoFundMe, by the way, is not going to anything other than paying postage for getting those certified letters sent out to make them acknowledge that they have it. And by the way, I'm intending, just to let you know where I'm going it. And by the way, if you're listening, MPD, I'm sorry, this isn't personal, but if they give me a stonewalling, I'm prepared to go to the press as well and say, hey, by the way, news agencies, here's the request I sent to them, and here's their answer, and they're not obeying the law. Are you going to do anything about it? We'll keep sending it to everybody until somebody mentions something. Go ahead, Joe. Joe is muted, or did he mute himself? I think you've muted. Yeah.
I think, yeah, he's muted.
My bad.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
There you are.
Yeah.
Where is it? Latitude 1904 says, I'm an Idaho attorney. Maybe I can help you, DA.
Oh, yes. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
He said he sent you an email.
Did you send an email? You sent.
He said he sent you an email. You can find his address there.
Okay. You don't have to respond on here, but I want to make sure you sent it to the right email. We have 2 email addresses that will primarily work. devilsadvocates2024 at gmail.com or contact@devilsadvocates.info. Either one of those email addresses work. So if you didn't send it to one of those, please make sure you sent it to the right email address. Very, very, very looking forward to hearing what you might have to say or what you might be able to help, because that's exactly what we might need. We might need to get to the point where we have some legal support when and if it gets to that point. So fantastic. Love that. Love it. Love it. That's what I was hoping for. We'd get something like that. All right. What else do we have? Let's go to another slide. Oh, that's Luigi Manjoni. Let me show you my website real quick. I'm going to take this. Actually, I don't have to take anything off the screen because I wasn't showing the screen. How cool was that? Give me 1 second to pull something up on screen. So this, if I pull it up on screen, is my website. The devil's in the details is my tagline, devilsadvocates.info. Across the top, you see my cases. The word documents is all bold. We're on the documents page right here. This is documents Idaho 4. As you can see, These are the requests that I've already sent out. It's downloadable. They're in PDF format, so you can read yourself. I made a formal complaint about Brett Payne. I've made it that was sent to the Idaho police. A formal complaint about Brett Payne sent to the city attorney's office. A formal complaint about Brett Payne sent to Moscow Police Department. Then there was attachments that went along with that letter. Attachment 1 was Brett Payne's testimony under oath to Ann Taylor saying he'd never heard of Brian Koberger until the 19th, and the page showing where he said that. And then also the Idaho State Forensics Services evidence submission form that shows that on the 5th, Moscow Police Department submitted documents to them with Brian Koberger's name on it listed as a suspect along with somebody else that they're redacting. I have suspicions. I know who that could be, that other name on there, but I have to ask for it and they're not going to tell me. I just figure that's the game we're going to play. Brent Kopacka. Then I sent out some more emails. Brent Kopacka in connection with the Idaho murder sent to MPD. Brent Kopacka's record request to Moscow. Formal complaint about Brett Payne again. Let's see. That was probably a mistake. That probably shouldn't be there. I don't know if I've got some duplicates that I might have to clean that up a little bit. Oh yeah. And then today's stuff. A FOIA request. This is an actual FOIA request. Some of these other ones are just public records requests. There's a difference between FOIA. FOIA is a federal system, and it's a different process than just public records. So different states have different rules on public records versus FOIA, which is a federal thing. So we did FOIA, historical records for the 82nd Airborne Division in general, and also with Brent Kopacka and Brent Kopacka and Brett Payne. I'm also looking to see if there's any overlap in their terms of service, or if they have any record of knowing these two knew each other in those things. I don't think they served at the same time, but I'm looking and I'm asking those questions. Verification of potential service overlap between the two of them was a separate letter. A FOIA request on Brett Payne's service record, a FOIA request on Brent Kopacka's service record. We should fundamentally get more on Brent Kopacka because he's deceased, and so they have to release more information on a deceased soldier than somebody who's still alive and not active in military, but alive is different than when you're a deceased soldier. So hopefully we'll get more out of that. By the way, yeah.
One sec, it has to be asked. When you're talking about deaths of these people in the Idaho 4, did we see an open public casket ceremony for Brent Kopacka, respectfully? Did we? Yes or no?
I didn't, but to be fair, I didn't look. I didn't look, but I did not.
We saw his factory reset phone.
Right.
You didn't see it. You were told that he had a factory reset. Yeah. That's interesting. But again, these people, no open public casket ceremony for these deaths that we're talking about the Idaho 4. It's crazy, folks. Absolutely crazy.
I've been told one time, and so it doesn't come with receipts. I've been told one time that the military itself has an open investigation into the death of Brent Kopacka. If that's the case, then we may get stonewalled from the military as well. But also, if they have to put that in writing why they're not responding because they call it an open investigation, that will be something to report as well, if Brent Kopacka has got an open investigation into his death. So we'll see what they respond, and we'll push on that.
Thanks for allowing me to interrupt there.
You bet. By the way, some of these records, some of these letters went to Pullman, Washington, Whitman County, Washington, and I have been told from my, internet sleuth, talking online, and ChatGPT and all those kind of tools, all the tools that I use to try to figure out how to do this legally, representing myself because I don't have an attorney in my back pocket. They say that Washington State is much more giving of public records. Idaho is known to stonewall people, to lie, basically say they don't have records that they do, give you the runaround, and they're known. They are known in Moscow for charging you obscene amounts of money for stuff that they're not allowed to charge you for, and they know that most people will give up and not press, and they'll just get tired of the game and they'll quit playing. That's their MO is ask for ridiculous things, give people the runaround, and then know that 90% of people will just give up and say, screw these guys, they're never going to tell you the truth, and you walk away. Washington, I'm told, is much more forthcoming. So when it comes to Brent Kopacka and maybe even Koberger's records in Washington, we'll have better luck getting answers from Washington State than we will from Idaho. And then we'll hopefully be able to use that as well to our benefit. So again, if you're interested in that pursuit of justice, and I'm learning on the fly. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make some mistakes. And I'll be like, they're going to send something back and go, this was not the way to request it. And I'm going to have to learn how to formally do it correctly. People who read my letters tell me the letters are well drafted. I did my best to get it drafted in such a way that everything was laid out very professional sounding, but we'll see. All right. So yeah. And then Joe just put that on. Idaho's great. No concealed carry permit required. Yeah. Idaho is there's things that Idaho does very cool. But there's some things that Idaho that does that's not so cool. So, anyways, before we're almost on time. Actually, I'm a little early tonight, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's a little bit lower show tonight, anyways. And again, I encourage people to come up on stage if you want to join us. Did you guys have any thoughts about? Well, let's talk about this. I know one you sent me a video. Phoenix was showing a video and some documents from the Idaho State forensics files. Again, they dropped like 2,000 something pages, and in there, I think in there or something related to that, she showed again the December 5th date where Brian Koberger's name just surprisingly shows up from Moscow Police Department on a suspect list. I don't know if I want to get into her full detail of what she's explaining because I don't have her receipts and I don't know that she has her receipts, but Phoenix did talk a little bit about the possibility that there was a fifth body, an autopsy that they were looking into, getting prints from. They got prints from all of the victims, including a fifth body, a fifth autopsy, to get prints and compare it to things. I'm assuming they were comparing it to perhaps maybe the latent print on the windows from whoever left handprints on the windows or whatever. What can you tell us without getting too deep on that?
So there was three prints that they took that they were trying to match. So they checked it to Ethan, Maddie, Zana, Kaylee. It didn't match to any of them. And the interesting thing is, why are they matching the prints to this other person who they did an autopsy on? Like, who is this other person? Why is this like buried in the documents? What does this have to, is this another body that is, that they're hiding in the house? Is this another body that, was this something that happened on the other side of town, or, what is this? All we have is the initials are MC. So no, it doesn't match Mowich. I know as soon as you see M, everyone's like, oh, it's Mowich. No, because that's Mowich doesn't have a C in his initials anywhere.
And it's Nicholas Mowich instead of
It's Nicholas James Mowich. So maybe he may have been tested with something else, but with this specific piece of info, it was a different person. And the other thing that's like really interesting about this whole piece that's in the document, again, it goes along with this document, like this info that they got was again magically on December 5th.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and chilling, and I know my panelists do not agree fully with me. Some of them agree more than others. Some don't think I'm on the right trench, but Chillin, by the way, and I are kind of thinking the same from the jump. I've thought Koberger and Kopacka could have been involved, and they got Koberger's name through Kopacka, and I think that as well. That's the reason why I'm specifically asking. I believe that there are reasons to believe Kopacka and Koberger knew each other, that they came from Pennsylvania. They literally lived across the street from each other in Pullman. Joe and I drove there. We could have thrown a rock from Koberger's place to where Kopacka was allegedly staying. They were that close to each other. Is that a coincidence if they both came from Pennsylvania and they ended up across the street from each other there? I don't think so. Is it a coincidence? Again, as people said, and it's in one of my letters. In one of my letters, I asked them, could you possibly also comment on if any conversation took place in Moscow Police Department in response to Judge John Judge saying on the stand during Brian Koberger's trial, he started to address Koberger as Mr. Kopacka, and then stopped and went, Koberger. So he started to say Kopacka's name. And so I asked, did you in MPD have any discussion about him almost saying the name Kopacka from the stand? And is there any documents, emails, string, discussion in your department on the record that you guys talked about Judge almost saying Kopacka's name on the stand? And where did he get that name? So, because I think he was on one of those documents. I think there's a reason to believe that I think he's the name that they have redacted still as suspect 1 and 2. I think it could have been Kopacka and Koberger. Again, my theory, for those who haven't heard it before, is that Kopacka and Koberger were suspected of doing this crime together. And then when Kopacka got killed for whatever reason, they decided, well, the only other person we know is involved in it is Koberger, and we can't place him in the house. They literally told you that to the last day of the trial. We can't place him in the house. They tried to find any way they could by bringing Molly McMichaels in last minute to say she saw him there when she didn't, trying to put DNA in the house, which they didn't have. It had to be obtained through illegal methods, in my opinion. And hopefully we can put pressure on them and prove that they had already decided Kohberger was involved with this crime, and they were going to be damned to find a way to put Kohberger in that house because they knew in their gut that he was involved, and they were just going to make it happen.
Or the police department were using Kohberger and possibly Brent Kopaka as the perfect patsy and distraction, which I think we saw, DA.
Yeah, and to your record, you bring it up all the time. We haven't brought up for a while. We didn't see bodies leave the house. They had everything tarped up. You didn't see bodies ever leave the house. Most of I think all but one were cremated right away. I'm not sure about an open casket funeral for maybe Ethan Chapin, but everybody else was cremated, right? There's a lot of questions. A moving company literally came in and moved boxes out of the house, which would lead to maybe your argument that it's a relocation thing and these people were literally moved somewhere. Like, there's an argument to be made when you don't see the bodies, when you haven't seen the autopsy, when you haven't seen the crime scene photos that show any amount of blood that's in relation to the kind of murders you're talking about. Something stinks in this whole case.
Yeah, when one brings up the autopsy, that's interesting because my first thought is, where are the autopsy photos from this quadruple homicide? And the answer is, we haven't seen it, folks. And that is huge red flags. And mainstream media, of course, they won't talk about it. Certain channels won't talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys have any last thoughts about Idaho 4 before we move on? We're not gonna have a super long show tonight, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Luigi Manjoni and a little bit about Charlie Kirk, and then we're going to get out a little early on Friday night so you can start your drinking or whatever the hell you want to do on Friday night. So I
don't drink. I'm training for POB, the boxing match.
I got it. You got to get that rib injury taken care of, though. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course.
All right. So any other last thoughts that you guys want to talk about with Idaho 4? I know it's hot and heavy. You guys have some last minute thoughts?
Well, somebody posted in the chat, Ash posted, also Brian Kohberger did a ride along with Brett Payne before the murders as part of Brian's criminology class. So Payne also knew Kohberger. I don't know if anybody has any confirmation of that sort of stuff, but it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're gonna public records request whether they have any knowledge of Brian Kohberger having done a ride along with Moscow Police Department. We'll do that. So we will request that. And by the way, whoever said that, if you've got any potential dates to narrow it down, that'd be better. But I will, in my campaign, you guys have already paid for it. I'm a little bit ahead on the money, so I will send out a letter tomorrow requesting that Moscow Police Department confirm whether Brian Kohberger ever had a ride along with officers, and that should be documented. That should be documented if they ever did a ride along. Now, I don't know. I mean, the reason why I'm a little bit nervous, because get this, here's a personal story. I went out to see, among other things, New York. I went to New York, and one here is NYPD, and I wanted so badly to do some kind of ride along with either himself or somebody else in NYPD, and they don't allow people from out of state to come ride along with NYPD. It's not allowed. So did Moscow Police Department allow somebody from Washington State to come do a ride along with them, or do they have a policy like other perhaps departments that say you can't do a ride along unless you're a citizen of that city or that state? So I don't know. But it's something to look into, and I certainly can request the documents. And it looks like Ash is going to check the dates. So if Ash can get that for us, that'd be fantastic. Again, send that to contact@devilsadvocates.info or devilsadvocates2024@gmail.com. Either place will go to where we can see it.
And one thing about because the body removal has come up a lot in our discussions. A while back, I spent a couple of hours searching for any videos of any potential content creator that got a hold of videos of the bodies being removed, and I couldn't find anything. And I know that there were content creators that were literally camped out there. I mean, at all hours of the night. Is it possible that they removed them in the middle of the night and nobody was around? Yes, it's possible, but it is possible. You can't. I know Estes is shaking his head, but the reality is people have to sleep at some point. I think it's unusual that there's no footage of it, because I would have thought somebody would have been waiting for that to film it. And I looked extensively. I wasn't able to find anything. So who knows? I mean, I think that mystery is always going to be floating out in the ether.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking at other content creators, Joe, trying to find that. And as one would probably add, you would see, maybe a gurney or a white sheet on top of the bodies, or as Joe mentioned, as I keep saying, body bags. One is an expert in this, and we didn't see any of that. And then they loaded the mattress in a hillbilly truck a couple of days later, right, with half the mattress sticking out, part of it covered, and then showing blood. It's almost if they want you to see that there was blood, from the stabbing. And that this doesn't happen in true crimes where they load a mattress in a hillbilly kind of truck. I wouldn't think, but I'm not a forensic investigator.
All right. I just off the top of my head, it just came up with another public records I want to request, but I got to ask you guys to put your collective thinking caps on and remind me of who you thought did this. Rumor has been out there for a long time that somebody was filming a movie and had a tripod and a camera on the house all night that night, that it was a film crew or whatever for a student film that they were making, and that there was a camera on the house. And then that story just disappeared in the wind. So I will public records request to whatever university to ask if any of their students had a film project in which they were filming that house, and make it a public records request. But was it University of Idaho or was it Pullman that was doing that? Do we know anything? I know that rumor was out there. People keep telling me, oh yeah, how come you haven't asked about the film crew that was filming all night long? If that's true, or even if it's remotely true, let's public records request the university and ask for if they know about that.
Yeah, it wasn't a film class. It was either this is what I can remember. It was either a photography class or it was a like a wildlife watching.
Yeah,
not related to the university.
I think it was like a wildlife club or group or something.
Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
well, that sucks in a way, because if it was a government agency like the school, we'd have a lot better chance of getting a public records request. If it was a private club, it's going to be a lot harder.
And on the message boards, I mean, like Facebook and Reddit and things early on in the case, apparently those people had posted at one point or another, very, very early on, and said that they turned over that footage
to the police department,
to law enforcement.
Okay, there you go. That's who we can go after. So we can go after the law enforcement on whether or not they received any footage of the house from anybody, whether it was a photography club, a bird watching club, anybody. Did anybody turn in footage of the house that was running all night long in the back of the house or on the house? So I'll request that from MPD.
By the way, DA, may I ask, is Brett Payne, I assume he's not necessarily on your Christmas list to give a Christmas card to. Am I right?
Unfortunately, I don't have any ill will against him, but I'm probably not sending him a Christmas card, and I don't think I'm going to get one back from him either.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately. And again, to be honest with you, I know they don't, I said this before, I know they don't view it this way, but just like a prosecutor and an attorney will fight it out in the courthouse and then go have a lunch together or dinner afterwards and just not talk with their friends. It's just a job we're doing. So I have a job to represent the media's or the public's interest, and they have a job to catch the bad guys. And so we're just doing our jobs. So, I mean, they might not like the process, but at the end of the day, don't take it personal. I'm just doing my job. So that's the way I look at it. Maybe not the way that they'll look at it, but that's the way I look at it. All right, let's talk about Luigi Manjoni, and then we'll end on Charlie Kirk, because Luigi is going to go fast. This is what there's a couple things I want to share about Luigi Manjoni. This is what I thought was hilarious. Day 4 of suppression hearings. So all this week we were supposed to have suppression hearings. I feel like I'm getting ready to make a big rant, and I don't want to. The suppression hearings are in New York. It's the state of New York case versus Luigi Manjoni, and they're literally ruling on an arrest in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So Luigi Manjoni is wanted for murder in New York State. He's also wanted by the federal government in New York for murder, but he was arrested after leaving New York, allegedly, and was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That arrest in Altoona, Pennsylvania, his attorney, Thomas Dickey, who was in the courtroom for the day 1 and day 2, I believe, and maybe day 4 or day, I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. Anyways, he was there. He filed a big, huge motion saying it was an illegal arrest. Karen Ignifilo filed a big motion saying it was an illegal arrest. I believe it's an illegal arrest. Ali Benevento, who came on my show, believes it's an illegal arrest. Cynthia Thornton, an attorney from Texas and New York, she came on and said it was an illegal arrest. Everybody seems to fundamentally agree it was an illegal arrest, except for the judge and the prosecution, who doesn't think, well, we don't know what the judge thinks yet. We do know the prosecution thinks it was totally legal. But here's a moment that I thought was funny. So in trial, so here's the kicker. Today, Luigi Manjoni is sick, and so they didn't have trial. And I find that fucking laughable. And I think everybody missed it. Because here's what happened. On day 2 of the trial, of the suppression hearings, the prosecution was supposed to bring up Officer Fox to the stand. And Mark Agnifilo, one of the team's defense, was the attorney who was going to cross-examine him. But they said, we're not going to bring Fox on today. We're going to do it tomorrow. Mark Agnifilo said from the stand, Your Honor, this is a problem. I'm set to cross-exam Officer Fox, but I have another obligation tomorrow in another case. I can't be here tomorrow. And the judge basically gave him, sorry, you just need to be flexible. That's what's going to happen. He's going to be here tomorrow. So you know what happened? Luigi got sick. We didn't have the trial that day, and now they're going to do it, and Mark Agnifilo will be back to do the cross-examination. I find that shit funny. Now, maybe Luigi Manjoni got sick, but it's almost like Mark Agnifilo said, hey, our guy's sick. You're just going to have to be flexible. We're just going to have to do it the next day. So I think that's what happened there. I find that shit funny. It may not have happened that way. Maybe Luigi did get sick, but when the judge tells him you're just going to have to live with it, be flexible, then he's like, hey, my guy got sick. You're going to have to live with it, be flexible. We're doing it the next day. So I thought that was a little funny. This is an interesting article. I want to point out police on day 1 and 2 of the suppression hearings, and I don't know which way it happened on. This was a key point that I actually kind of missed reading well, I didn't miss it because I remember seeing it when they pointed it out. Of course my highlights went away. Oh no, this is the one. Is that Luigi Manjoni actually told them, not only did they not read Luigi Manjoni his Miranda rights for nearly 20 minutes, it was at least 17 minutes. And that's fundamentally the problem here. They didn't read him his Miranda rights. They viewed that he was a suspect, but they didn't tell him he was a suspect. And they interrogated him and they detained him for almost 20 minutes without letting him know that he was under investigation, that he had the right to remain silent. But here's the kicker. Not only did he do that, but Luigi Manjoni literally told them he didn't want to talk to them on multiple occasions, and they continued to interrogate him without telling him he had the right to remain silent. So here it is. Police video shows Manjoni said that he did not want to talk, and they kept asking questions. Minutes after police approached Luigi Manjoni in Pennsylvania, he told an officer that he didn't want to talk, according to a video and testimony at court hearing on Thursday. Although Manjoni signaled that he wasn't interested in speaking, police continued asking questions and he continued answering, the video shows. Nearly 20 minutes passed before the police informed him of his right to remain silent. Manjoni's lawyers argued that the statements aren't fair game for the trial because the officer asked questions before reading him his rights. The defense says the contents of his backpack should be excluded because the police didn't get a warrant before searching it. And so here's the gist. Luigi Manjoni was being questioned by Detweiler in McDonald's. And he said to him, literally, I don't know what you guys are up to, so I'm just going to wait. Manjoni answered that he was required and inquired about what was afoot. After repeating the claim that someone said he was suspicious, Fry asked, you don't want to talk to me or anything? Manjoni indicated he did not by shaking his head. So he says, I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just going to wait. Manjoni was asked, do you want to talk to us? And he shook his head. No, he didn't want to talk to us. That's a bigger problem, I think, for the prosecution than they think. Because not only, he literally said, I don't want to talk. Therefore, the argument is Manjoni believes is he's compelled to talk because officers are questioning him. And he doesn't know his right to remain silent. If officers are asking questions, a lot of people in this country believe if an officer asks you a question, you damn well have to answer. He's the police. You have to answer. A lot of people think that's the case, and it's not true. And so Manjoni may have felt that he was compelled to answer the officer because he's being asked questions. And so he told them, I don't want to talk, but they continue to ask him questions. So that could be a problem. Can I ask why there are so many cops here? Manjoni asked. He actually asked, why are there so many cops here? And so on and on. The point being is that they continued to, and he remained silent when they asked him about things. So Manjoni did not know he was under detention. He asked them why there was so many cops there. He asked them what they were doing. He said, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't want to talk to you. And they continued to press him about things. And yes, he did answer those questions under pressing interrogation with a wall of 11 police officers pinning him in the corner. He continued to ask questions. They stood him up. They turned him around. They put his hands above his head. They frisked him, patted him down. They took his bag away from him. They did all these things, instructed him to sit back down, and then ordered police officers to stand close, keeping it so he couldn't come out of the corner, all while telling you Luigi Manjoni is free to leave at any time he wanted to. So I think his lawyers are going to eat that team for lunch. I believe that they have queued up They've queued. I've been told that the defense has, by the way, in day 1 and day 2, the prosecute or the defense has been relatively quiet. It's all been the prosecution pretty much saying why it was a legal arrest. The only thing I like I've told people before, the only thing that really the defense did that was of note was I think Karen Ignifilo asked an officer one question on cross. You are aware of what Miranda rights are, right? And he said, yes. And she's like, no further questions. So it's like, it's like, wait till we have our turn, you're toast. Because all she has to ask is just reminder, you do know what Miranda rights are, right? Yeah. Okay. So they've got queued up a couple of officers to go on the stand on behalf. Well, I wouldn't say on behalf, because you can bring people on stand that are under duress or being testified because they have to. So I don't know if they're going to be willing or under duress things. But one of the officers at that arrest literally says on body cam, you did inform Luigi Manjoni that he was under investigation and you read him his rights, correct? And they said no. And he's like, you need to do that immediately. And what they did was they did one half of that. They told him he was under investigation. They still didn't read him his Miranda rights. So they've got a major problem in that case as far as that evidence goes. But they've already started laying down the groundwork that they're going to get it in a different way because they already have people who are in the correctional. I'll get you in just a second, Jason. They have the people in the correctional facility who say, yeah, when Manjoni was there and holding, he told us that he had a 3D printed gun on him. He told us he had foreign currency. He told us that he had a beef with the health insurance industry. So that's their backup plan. If the judge says it was an illegal arrest and they can't show it to the jury, the gun, the money, and the confession letter and all the things they think they have, if they can't be shown, they'll use security guards or correctional facility officers to say, well, Manjoni told us that he did it. So, all right, go ahead. What do you got, Jason Estes?
Thanks. Yeah, it's a little sidetracking, but on Luigi's victim, Brian Thompson, the thought occurred to me tonight, just now. Call me crazy, but I'm just wondering, like, if the CEO Brian Thompson, I would think he would have had a huge open public casket ceremony. I'm not saying that his death was fake. Don't represent, but I'm just wondering, like, did we see an open public casket ceremony for this big CEO? Did you ever hear about it? See it on TV? I didn't see it. And if not, I'm wondering why. Is that very unusual, or?
Well, I will tell you. I'll tell you. It was reported that a private ceremony was held for the family at a very specific church. So the location was identified. They said that the family went. They said it wasn't disclosed to the public because they didn't want it to be a media shit show. And so the family, out of respect for the family, they hid the location. So that's their official answer, that there was a funeral and it happened at a church and it was at an undisclosed location and time so that the media and press wouldn't be all over it and bother the family that's grieving. So whether that happened or not, of course, we don't know. But to be fair, and what you missed a good, Joe made you proud the other night. Joe was pointing out the shooting looks a little fake to him. It actually looks like Brian Thompson kind of acts like he just got shot and kind of hobbles off to the side and kind of almost looks like it's putting on a performance. And so he started to lay out, he started to lay out, and I entertained the idea, because that's what we do here, that maybe that was done right under a camera for everyone to see, because they wanted people to believe that Brian Thompson just got killed, and maybe he didn't. Again, we have another one of those mysterious lack of blood on the sidewalk that we don't seem to have evidence of. So was it a staged shooting? And then there's multiple reasons why that could happen. So one way could have been it's a Whitsett kind of situation. He was set to testify in a Department of Justice case, a huge case involving a whole crap ton of money. Did they want people to believe that he got killed so that he could testify later and people wouldn't try to rub him out? So there's a lot of different scenarios in the wind for the first time.
I love
what if he didn't get shot?
I love hearing that, because in retrospect, when you look at it, and I'm going to look at this over and over again, and in my head, we know his face was not in the camera, Brian Thompson, right? Or his body, just conveniently not in the camera shot. It's like, again. No,
he actually, and we looked at last night, after the supposed shooting, the body falls into it's like a heavily shadowed area too.
Interesting.
Yeah, recessed area.
Interesting. Well, thanks for bringing all this up, guys. I'm going to have to check your live the other night without me. Apparently, you guys rocked it on without me. We did. I was like revelations.
We need Estes here. You're literally talking about this could be
well done. State of the deep, Joe. I'm glad you're looking at those camera angles and bringing it to people's attention. I never really looked at it quite that way.
Well, it was like perfectly framed. Like the Thompson walks into the camera, and then the alleged shooter walks perfectly into frame of the camera frame. It just, from the instant I found out about this case and I saw that video. Now, granted, I'm a little more conspiratorial than your average person, but it looked to me like a staged event. And again, I said this last night. I don't say this about every crime that I see, but when it's a big money case and a power structure type of case, and I see something that looks off, it makes me question it.
And cases, Joe and DA and 1-1 and Robin, cases that, as you've sort of implied, DA, that may change policies.
Yes.
Huge red false flag
Yeah.
events, you know, some of them, it's all to change policy. And that's why I'm glad that you guys are bringing a lot of truth and transparency. We're trying to dig in here.
Yeah, and it's funny because I tend to try to shy away from the more complex extraction removal or WITSEC type of stories. And yet, when you're talking about the obscene amount of monies that are involved in this, and again, the Department of Justice investigation, you have reasons to believe that. I mean, first of all, you've got a million people that could have wanted him dead. A lot of people were mad about the denials of claims in the first place. Books were being written about it. It was all over the news that United Healthcare was leading the charge in denials of claim, denying they were using AI to reject more claims so their shareholders could get money. That pisses people off. Like, anybody could have wanted him dead. There was people that were marching around the headquarters of United Healthcare with a casket saying United Health denies care, and they were basically they were carrying a casket around in front of Brian Thompson before the shooting, like. Any one of those people could have wanted him dead. And then you've got other crazy scenarios. What if, for example, United Healthcare's board of directors themselves or stockholders were pissed at Brian Thompson because he lost them a shit ton of money when they were under investigation by the Department of Justice, and he cost them almost $1 billion. Somebody might say $1 billion is $1 billion reasons to kill somebody. So there are
$1 billion reasons to go in the WITSEC program if you can get in there.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I mean, how do you not, if you're being intellectually honest, entertain those options as a possibility, especially when that kind of money is in the air? So let's talk briefly about Charlie Kirk, and then we'll wrap up and let you guys do what you're going to do for the weekend. So on screen, I found a couple of things that I thought was noteworthy. FBI Director Kash Patel on alleged charges or alleged Charlie Kirk assassinations text messages and Transtifa connection. Now, you probably have all heard about the text messages, and it doesn't sound like somebody, this confession, hey, it's Tyler Robinson here, I just killed somebody. That was some of the text messages people saw. There was other text messages that came out and said, well, that's not the actual text message. It was more like, hey, I just did something. And, and it wasn't like, hey, I'm Tyler Robinson and I just killed somebody. It's a little less. So which ones are authentic and which ones aren't? By the way, one of the reasons why I read legal documents is I actually read the charging papers of of Tyler Robinson, and I read what they said the actual text messages said. And it wasn't the text messages, allegedly, that said, hey, it's Tyler Robinson here, I just killed Charlie Kirk. That was a ridiculous out there floated thing. That was not what was presented in the courtroom. So for anybody who thinks that was the text messages, no, that wasn't it, because read the legal documents. That's why we read the legal. What did they actually say in court? It wasn't that text message. But let's read this article about, that's Manjoni. This one. Here we go. FBI Director Kash Patel on alleged Charlie Kirk assassinations text messages. So on the Megyn Kelly show, theories have abounded in the aftermath of the arrest about whether authorities have the right guy, that's Tyler Robinson, whether he acted alone, and more. On Friday's show, Megyn joined FBI Director Kash Patel, and she asked him about those concerns. Megyn says, do you believe that you have the proper suspect in custody? Do you believe that Tyler Robinson is, in fact, the man who killed Charlie Kirk? His straight answer, yes. Megyn follows up. Do you believe that he acted with the help of anyone else? Listen to this nuanced question. So do you have the right guy? Yes. Did he act alone? Well, here's the answer. This investigation is being led by the Utah state authorities because it is a murder investigation. So the FBI is in a supporting role in the investigative process. And so what we're doing is the same thing that we did in the pipe bomb investigation. The investigation is ongoing for us. If there's any new leads or tips, we are exhausting them with search warrants and legal process. But at the same time, we're working with the prosecutors in Utah to make sure we don't screw up their investigation, because again, the worst outcome would be if the guy that killed Charlie Kirk walks out of the United States courtroom in the state of Utah. And so it's a delicate balance. And again, but there's no way this FBI is going to stop that investigation until it reaches its conclusive endpoint. So interesting. Do you have the right guy? That's a yes/no answer. He just, yeah, they got the right guy. Did he do it alone? Well, that's under investigation. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Foreign intervention. Megan asks, do you believe that any foreign government has a role in the assassination? Director Patel. At this time, the FBI doesn't have credible information to connect any foreign governments to it. But as I said, we are continuing to make investigative leads. We are not done just because we arrest someone. Just like in the pipe bomb case, we don't just say, okay, we're done. On to the next investigation. The investigative team continues to work with the Utah authorities, and they're deriving their own leads and coming back to us and say, hey, can you look at this piece of information? Can we get a search warrant on this account? What about this individual who's located X, Y, Z? And we're tracking all that down. So again, the long answer to, do you think there's foreign government involvement? We're still looking into it. TPUSA, and here we go to Candace Owens coming up. We got an article about Candace as well. Do you believe, or do you have any credible reasons to believe that anyone connected with Turning Point organization had anything to do with Charlie's death? And he says flat out, zero. That's a quick answer. Like all these other ones that he's caveating, nope, absolutely nothing. 100% Tyler Robinson is the right guy. Is anybody else involved? Well, maybe. Are you foreign governments? Well, maybe. Turning Point? Nope, not at all. Like I find those answers interesting. Which ones he's so definitive? I know for sure it wasn't TPUSA. I know for sure it was Tyler Robinson, but we're not sure if other people are involved or if government's involved, other governments. So that's interesting. And about the text messages. Now this gets interesting as well. Megan, the text messages between Tyler Robinson and his roommate Lance Twiggs, the reason a lot of people think Tyler didn't do it is because they sound kind of fake. The wording just sounds a little strange. Do you have any reason to believe that the text exchange was not real between them for whatever reason, potentially even having been orchestrated between the two of them? Director Patel's answer, look, I understand the emotion behind this case. Charlie was my friend. He was your friend. He was assassinated in the most brutal way in a public forum where he was trying to have engagement with the youth of the United States of America. And while I was representing the White House at Ground Zero in New York City on 9/11, we made the decision to pivot immediately and fly out to Utah to make sure that we executed the manhunt. We went out there with the FBI, seized video evidence, and put it out into the public immediately. And then this individual was caught in 33 hours. By the way, that makes my skin crawl. I'll get back to that in a second. And so I understand that there's so much changed emotion on the other evidence that was collected, the notes that you were talking about, the text messages. I mean, excuse me. And we present that information to the prosecutors to make the determination based on the evidence that we have as to whether or not they believe they were real. I can't stylize or comment on it because it's an ongoing investigation, but I don't believe the prosecutors in the Utah would be using any police information or evidence that was not credible. So again, look at the answers he's so firm on. Yes, it's Tyler Robinson, and TPUSA had nothing to do with it. Not sure if it's government involvement. Not sure if others were involved. Not sure if the text messages are real, but I 100% know TPUSA wasn't involved. I always find those kind of things interesting, what they're so certain of and what they're not so certain of. And then the last part we'll get about, and I'll tell you about the 33 thing real quick before I read the Transtifa connection. The 33 thing bothers me. There are those who believe in the whole Masonic conspiracy that if Freemasons are involved and the highest degree in Freemasonry is 33, and there's symbolism in this case that has 33 on it, and they keep repeating to this day. If you're a conspiracy theorist, I'll just say this. If you're a conspiracy theorist who listens to the Masonic Lodge kind of thing, there is a reason to believe it happened in the John F. Kennedy assassination, 33s that appeared all over the place in news agencies. There's an argument to be made by those who are in that conspiracy on the Masons, that the Masons like to put their stamp on things so that people who are in the know and part of the brotherhood see their stamp on it. Like a weird thing of constantly telling people that it was 33 hours exactly after you arrested him, that the shooting, that you got him. That's a weird statement to keep saying over and over again. And it leads to that creepy moment where conspiracy theorists are like, why do you keep emphasizing it was exactly 33 hours? It's like you're trying to point something out to people who know the significance of the number 33, because why else would you do it? Like, so I just want to a shout out to those who are thinking that round, that I see those numbers. I pay attention to the weird effect that we're still constantly talking about the 33 number in almost every single, like, why do they keep insisting it's important to let you know that how many hours went by exactly before they arrested him? I find it weird, but we'll table that. Last paragraphs, and then I'll bring up the open panel discussion. Megan asks, There were texts by certain trans individuals online before the assassination talking about something big that's going to happen. And then after he was killed, saying things like, and there it is, leading many of us to wonder whether there was some sort of Transtifa connection to the murder, or at least maybe some tip-off to the community. Is that under investigation? Patel says that is most definitely under investigation, and we've disclosed a lot of that to the prosecution of all that we have, and they've made some of it public to include that he was in a relationship with an individual who's part of that community, and that he was engaged in communications with other individuals in that community. But as to how they relate to the prosecution, that's up to the Utah prosecutors to say. We need this in court, and we're going to hold it until it's released, until the trial. All right. Article 1, I've got a couple of other articles. What do you guys think about that article? Any talking points, thoughts about that whole thing, everything I just ranted on? Oh, wow, it's peanut gallery time. It's like silence. You guys left me hanging. All by myself, left me hanging. Did I just pick a news story that you like? Why'd you read that? That was completely boring. Like there was something interesting in there.
My only question is, why did Nancy Grace not interview the FBI? I would have liked Nancy Grace, my woman, to pick.
Was date in the past or something like that, you said?
No, we didn't. I'm just kidding. I can't even get away with that as a joke with Nancy, I don't think. But
you're right. You're probably gonna get a lawsuit if we don't say strictly that was a joke. It was not meant to be taken seriously at all.
Now, Joe and 1-1, do you have anything to say on what DA read there?
Oh, Joe's muted himself. Joe muted himself again.
I thought it was his answer about TP USA is pretty interesting. He just like said, no, 0, because that's the whole, Candace Owens is going,
Candace is huge on the TP USA.
She's going headstrong against TP USA. So,
and he immediately shut it down. Nope, 0 connection with TP USA. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, sorry, I my nose is running. I keep having to blow my nose.
Right.
I keep muting my mic. It's hard for me to take anything the Fed say seriously, to be honest with you. Joe. I can't even entertain anything they say. Literally, it 100% lies. Everything they say, always 100% of the time.
Yeah, and so I mean, do you, Joe? You being that analytical guy, do you find it as odd as I do that they're going to give all these caveats to, did he act alone? Were there foreign governments involved? And huge, long explanations about it, keeping an open mind. And then when they get to the question, was TPUSA involved? Zero chance that happened, and just moved on. Like, do you find that odd or not?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's he going to say? Because if he says anything other than absolutely not, because if he says, yes, Tyler Robinson, we think we have the right guy. Okay, that's their official stance. He can't say, because he can't outwardly just say, oh, nobody else was involved, because that sounds even more suspicious, right? So they have to make their narrative for normies like, oh yeah, he's the guy. Well, he might have had other people involved. We're looking into it, to make it look like they're doing something, which they're not. It was a Fed operation, so they know exactly what happened. They're all just given their marching orders. As far as TPUSA, the government, the Trump administration is directly involved with TPUSA. Their donors are some of the same donors that were big donors to the Trump campaign. So they're not going to make any reference to TPUSA being at all in question.
But why can't they say the same kind of answer? We're keeping all options on the table. Why definitively 0? Like, everything else is like, we're keeping all options on the table. Was it TPUSA involvement? 0 chance that happened.
Yeah, because of the money. Because of money. Yeah. I mean, TPUSA is a powerful organization that's connected to the administration. So they can't even make any hint whatsoever. Because again, like I said, the donors are also donors to the Trump administration, and worse, if depending on how deep you dig. So I just think, I mean, again, I follow Candace on this case pretty closely.
Yeah.
And so she's pointed out many of the inconsistencies, like this most simple thing that Candace points out. Why wouldn't TPUSA be questioning the jets, the Egyptian government jets. Why would, if you cared, any normal person would go, yeah, that's crazy. Why did these jets keep showing up, like following in locations where TPUSA is, and you know,
Erica's
why
at.
were they there during that time? If they were legitimate and they weren't suspicious, they would be like, oh my God, we have to look into this. No, they're dismissing everything she says. And right out of the gate, to me, that's suspicious. And obviously it is suspicious, in my opinion.
Yeah, JJ, I was talking to Lee a little bit earlier. Something that's brought up. It's interesting to me. So, obviously, Erica, she has some relationship, right? She knows, all these people at TPUSA. Isn't it highly interesting that she has the same security?
Yeah, it's insane.
Like if your loved one, right, was murdered or whatever, some kind of crazy incident happened, and obviously, like, you look at the whole thing, and at any incident that happened, you always look, what could have been done differently, was all protocols followed, blah blah, all that stuff, but her husband was actually killed. You would think, well, yeah, maybe I need to get some kind of different security. Why would she be with the same security? It's odd to me.
I got to bring that up on TikTok. Thank you guys for that.
It's insane because
it's odd.
The two things that come to mind when you mention that are, one, maybe all along TPUSA wasn't working for Charlie,
right?
They were just appearing as if they worked for him. And two, it's very possible that, Erica was involved with things before she got together with Charlie that influenced the security team. And to piggyback on that, maybe it was an extraction operation. And so they're not really concerned about the failure of the security team, because Charlie was
fine,
taken out in a staged way because they needed to remove him from the picture.
Sure.
But he was a good soldier for all those years, so we're not going to take him out. We're just going to remove him, and he's going to be put out to pasture in a different way, and he's going to end up, basically, we give him a couple of $100 million, he disappears, he goes to live somewhere else, and maybe down the road, Erica disappears too, or we just never hear anything about Charlie again. So I'm open to both of those possibilities.
Yeah,
that's deep. Man. That's deep. But I agree. This is why this is the best YouTube channel. This kind of information and theories, and I totally agree with a lot of what Joe just said.
Yeah, and it's funny because it just there's just again, some of us pay attention to those little details. The devil is in the details. That's the reason why it's my slogan. Yep. The devil's in the details. It's the little things sometimes that you miss. It's not just what they're saying, it's also what they're not saying. That some people like us, we pick up on the funny that you're saying this, but you're not saying this. And those kind of things, those details are usually a tip-off that something's fishy going on. So I want to end on a little bit of a personal rant. Not a big rant. I'm not going to scream and yell, but this goes to the whole issue of victim shaming. If we ask questions, we're assholes and we're victim shaming. I've had people repeatedly tell me, shut up and leave Erica Kirk alone. She's grieving. Don't you have any fucking respect for this family? Idaho 4, same story. These people lost their kids. Shut the hell up. You have no right to talk. You don't know. You are never allowed to talk unless you've had something like that happen to you personally. Yet they can always go on and go media blitz and go all over the country talking about what happened and tell you what they believed happened all day long, every day, and twice on Sunday. But we're an asshole if we talk about it because the only person allowed to talk about it is the one giving the official narrative. So once again, here we are. Erica Kirk is on Erica Kirk Week, where she's all over, like 7 different appearances on Fox this week with all kinds of different shows. They list all the different appearances she's having. They've started a whole show for her, a whole channel for her. Like She is media queen, and she's talking about how she wants to be bigger than Taylor Swift. Why is it okay? Why is it okay in America that I am an asshole if I question and I'm not even questioning Erica. Let's get this straight. I'm not questioning Erica. I'm questioning whether or not Tyler Robinson actually shot Charlie Kirk or whether something else happened. And I'm told to shut the hell up and leave Erica alone in her time of grief. But she can do a whirlwind tour going on every TV station and talking about now she's new CEO of this, CEO of that, against everything that everything her husband stood for. He wouldn't have approved of a woman without a husband running a company and having no time for the kids. That's not something Charlie Kirk would have stood for. But somehow we're supposed to believe that this is all,
never.
And yet, if you bring that up, we're the assholes. And I realize you're just like, yeah, it's just narrative shaping. But why does it piss me off so much? It just pisses me off. You guys have any thoughts about that?
Dude, the YouTube community knows you rock with your amazing guests, and this is the best true crime channel out there on YouTube. I truly believe that. And I'm sure a lot of the audience agrees. So don't be so damn hard on yourself, dude.
I know it's hard. It's hard. You know, I am growing. I can say I am growing a thicker skin, and I appreciate that. But it's just, I guess what I'm trying more than me taking it personally, I want to like wake up the sheeple who they think, oh yeah, maybe DA's right. Maybe DA should shut the hell up. It's disrespectful to talk about it. Why are they allowed to go media blitz and make money off of a tragedy? Yeah. But if I talk about something stinks here, I'm an asshole. Like, think for a minute. Think. That's what I'm trying to help people do, right? What was that comment? She chose a clone, by the way. Real Boys from Brazil. Shit, you didn't ever go to watch that original Erica Kirk movie? No. Boys from Brazil? I didn't watch that movie. Maybe I'll have to check that out and add that to my list.
By the way, sorry, go ahead, DM.
No, go ahead. No,
I was just, I don't know if it's going to be humorous, but I was just envisioning who is controlling Erica Kirk to push this woman out. Because, you know, in my opinion, she's not doing this on her own accord with all this fake grieving, in my opinion. Many people say it just doesn't feel right, doesn't smell right, how she's acting, which I don't know, she's a beautiful woman, but it just doesn't, it's not right. And there's something else I want to say and I forget, but I'll stop.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because when people talk about, like, you know, the Boys from Brazil movie or whatever, a funny thing happened. Like, a lot of times when people tell you, especially when more than one person tells you, this reminds me of such and such movie, you'd be surprised at how many times you can learn something by watching that movie. A perfect example is in the Luigi Manjon shooting. Many people said, oh my God, this is How to Blow Up a Pipeline. And I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And so I did some research. And How to Blow Up a Pipeline was a book. It was a nonfiction book. A nonfiction book written by a guy that was basically a think tanker saying, by the way, have we ever considered that violence never solved anything is a misnomer? Our country was founded on violence. We solve problems by violence. And this idea that violence doesn't solve anything is not true. And in fact, demonstrations never solve anything. Passing legislation almost never fixes anything. Protesting outside of someone's things almost never fixes anything. But oftentimes when you hurt somebody in their economic pocketbook or physically or whatever, that violence leads to real change. And so it was a question. It was like, is it true? And then they took examples of things in history that showed that real change happened when something violent happened, as opposed to solving it through. They always want to tell you, just get out there and protest, vote somebody else into new in office. And the book was basically saying, does that really work? Or is it true?
Yes and no. The book doesn't tell you that whenever you have powerful, positive change in the world, you just mentioned history briefly, it shows you it's bottoms up. It's the working class largely that marches the streets and says enough is enough. And they decide how much violence is necessary, or if it is, for a strong revolution, you know?
So let me yeah, exactly. So let me follow this thought. So here's what's interesting. The reason that book is allowed to exist in America is we have freedom of speech. And that book was simply a question book. It wasn't, here's the key for freedom of speech. Some people said, why is that book allowed to be out there? It's literally, it's suggesting that if you want to change things in the world, you have to be violent. But that's not what it's doing. It's just asking questions, and we have freedom of speech. And so you're allowed to do it as long as there isn't what's called a call to action. As long as you don't end the book with, and now go shoot somebody so that we can make some real change in this country, that would be a problem. That would be not protected under freedom of speech. But there's no call to action in the book. It's just a question. Can you look historically and realize that most things change in our country because of violence, not because of legislation or whatever? So it's allowed to happen to protected free speech. But what was really interesting to follow this huge tangent was the movie, the fictional movie, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which was a movie that was made about a group of 20-something-year-olds from different walks of life who all were having a problem with the greed in America and the greed of corporations and the greed of big oil companies or whatever. And so they decided to blow up a pipeline, not kill anybody, but blow up a pipeline and do economic terrorism to hurt them in the pocketbook and make them wake up. And the premise of the book, the movie was, one person agreed to take the fall for the rest of them so that they can continue to do it and get away with it. One person would basically get caught with everything on them and say, yep, it was me. And they would go down. And then the rest of them would go off and be able to do it again and keep the revolution moving. And so people were saying, what if Luigi Manjoni is that situation? What if a group of people conspired and said, we've got to do something. Who's willing to take the fall and go down as the face of this organization? And the real shooter is still out in the wind. And that real shooter is going to go do it again when this all covers down and people aren't looking. And so people were saying, what if this is that situation? And boy, you learn a lot. You start thinking like, holy shit, is that a logical scenario that the real shooter is out on the wind? Which then led to the questions. What if Luigi Manjoni was simply player 2? What if player 1 is still out there in the wind? What if the real shooter is out there somewhere and Luigi Manjoni is just taking the fall for it? Maybe agreed upon, maybe a patsy, whatever the case may be. But is it possible that more than one person was involved in this thing? It took months apparently to plan, right? Luigi Manjoni went dark for 6 months, almost 6 months. So if was he planning it alone? If he did it at all? Because again, remember, let me make sure you're clear when I say those kind of things. I believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. Luigi Manjoni has not been proven to be the shooter. So we don't know that he did it or is involved at all. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, two things I would like to know, and I'll look into it too. If there was a CAI program where Luigi went to college.
Yeah.
The Center for Anticipatory Intelligence, which there was at Utah State, where Tyler Robinson went for 1 semester. Number one. Number two, do you guys know who the comedian Ari Shafir is?
No.
He's a pretty big comedian. He's buddies with Joe Rogan. He's pretty well known. If you want to really see an interesting segment, he is being interviewed at one point on some podcast or something, and they were talking about all the corruption, and Ari was talking about how he doesn't vote. He said the system is a complete sham. It's a waste to do it. And the guy says, I don't know if I can say this on here, so I might have to defer to you guys looking it up and finding the video. But the guy said, well, what do you propose that we do? And Ari's answer, it aligns with what you were talking about in your rant, DA. But the way he says it and the response of the guy interviewing him is priceless, because the guy's like, you can't be serious. And then Ari's like, just look at history. Look at history of countries, actual history on how major changes were made. And I won't repeat what he says because it's probably not a good thing for the channel. Look up Ari Shafir interview about corrupt governments or corrupt politicians. You'll be able to find it.
Yeah, and and along that lines, and I appreciate that, being careful for the sake of the channel, but along that lines, I mean, we made a decision a while ago why we're not going to say things like unaliving and we'll just say murder, because we believe that we're adults and we can have adult conversation on this panel. So it is fine. I do appreciate that taking the care of it. It's fine, especially when you're caveating it that, look, I'm not saying this is my opinion. This is what was said and whatever. So if you want to, you can. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, it's okay.
Well, the guy said, well, what do you think the solution is? And Ari said, you have to kill them. He said, and the guy said, you can't be serious. And he said, yeah. And he's totally calm when he says it. Ari's just matter of fact. He's like, oh yeah, no, the guy's like, no, you don't really mean that. He said, just look at history. It's historical. I mean, look at how these corrupt dictators and politicians, that's what's happened throughout history.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, no, I studied your amazing country a little bit in terms of the U.S. civil rights movement, and through especially the research of Dr. Shiva, looking at your history there. Just real quick to remind you guys, it was started by women, and I said this in one of my speeches in the late 1800s. They were fed up with the slave labor, the hideous work conditions. They marched the streets. They were ferocious. I said it can and will happen in Canada as well. The ladies shouted yes, and then the men joined them, and that's when you had so many thousands of strikes. By 1970, the elites, they demoralized that because they knew all the gains that we have today, the good infrastructure, improvement in nutrition, improvement of the water supply, all that was those gains from the working class bottoms up movements. And that was even 13 years before the measles vaccine. 98% was gone because of bottoms up working class movements. And they didn't kill anybody, but they were ferocious in their own way. You guys in the United States there. So keep it up. Bottoms up, grassroots movements.
And that's what I like about alternate historians that look at things from a different perspective. A lot of times things happen because of a lot of underlying things happening that kind of coalesced at the same time. So there's probably, truth, a little bit of truth to that and a little bit of truth to something else, and everything kind of happened at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I love those for thought experiments because it makes you think outside the box and go like, what if we were, for God's sake, what if in America as children we were lied and we were told that all of our founding fathers were great patriots, and then later on when you get to the higher level of academia, you find out that they were traitors against their own country and shot their own soldiers in the head from sniper positions like cowards instead of fighting on the battlefield. It's a whole different version you hear when you're at the higher level of education. But when you're younger, you're brainwashed into they're heroes, they're patriots, they did all these great things for you. But there's another way of looking at it. They were traitors to their own country and shot their own soldiers in the head. We would call them traitors, and we put them to death for treason. So it's all a matter of perspective. And so,
well, I just want to push back a little bit on Este's comment there. That those changes were social changes, and they were incremental changes. But when a government gets so corrupt that no amount of voting or protesting is going to change what they're doing, then you reach a point of diminishing returns where protesting and voting no longer works.
Yeah.
And so there's gradations to it.
Yeah.
And when
but what I was saying, it's not about voting for politicians, right?
Right. No, I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, we've reached a point in the world, not just in America, where the power and money is so blatantly in control of politicians that it doesn't matter who you vote for. And they're like, I say this all the time. Sociopaths don't stop being sociopaths because people complain about them. And that's just a simple fact. When you have sociopaths that coalesce over many years and get into positions of power, no amount of protesting or complaining or X posts or anything is going to change their behavior. So I guess that's the sort of more the bigger picture of it, how I see it.
I like that. You give me an idea for a new shirt, Joe. It might say one day, sociopaths don't stop if you complain about them.
Just give me credit. Just give me credit.
Let me come up with a shirt first, and then I'll get you one.
You can't hurt the feelings of a sociopath. They don't give a shit. Zero fucks given is another way.
That's my quote, by the way. Quote JJ.
You will get credit for that, Joe, when I wear that shirt. For sure.
All right, panel, I want to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to say, by the way, and this is one of the reasons I want to wrap it up. We had a smaller audience tonight, but it was consistent and steady all throughout multiple cases. And that's a great sign for us, because if we were a one-trick pony and all anybody ever cared about was Idaho 4, I don't feel like they're getting the channel. But the idea that people are sticking through and listening to other channels, to me, is a sign that we're doing things right. We're resonating with people. They're realizing that it's the bigger issues. It's not just one thing. But yeah, we're going to try to stick it to the man in the Idaho 4 case. So again, as a plug on the way out, if you I got 3 more letters that I just thought of tonight to file on behalf of this case now on some things that came up in the chat tonight. So I'm going to be a letter writing fool. They get to know me very well at my local post office. Oh, you're going to be filing more complaints against people. Yes, I am. I'm going to be here all day, every day in your ass filing letters. So please support that cause at our GoFundMe page. And I'll keep writing letters. And again, that's only part of the process, because all of those letters or most of those letters are going to come back with some kind of form of not going to answer your question. And then we're going to have to file follow-up questions with reminding them of their legal ability. And maybe, just maybe, an Idaho attorney will reach out to us and say, hey, look, if you want a little help with that work in Idaho, talk to me. So maybe we've already got that in the works. That'd be exciting. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Do you guys have any last thoughts before saying goodnight to everybody?
Yeah, hop in. Amanda mentioned something which is pretty big for our channel. We did hit 1 million views, which is
1 million
a great,
views.
it's a great achievement.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm not sure how great it was, but I saw that and it popped up on my screen and it's like, hey, you've reached an achievement, 1 million views on YouTube. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. It sounds cool. 1 million is a big freaking number. So thank you all for being part of the show, and thank you 1-1 for pointing that out, and Amanda pointed it out, and then 1-1 highlighted it on the thing. So thanks to you guys, because it does sound a little self-serving, but I would have probably done it anyways if I had remembered. But anyways, the point being is that I'm glad you guys did it, not me. Thank you so much. Any other comments, Jason Estes? You got a last minute comment at all?
Just thank you guys for having me back. It was exciting to be back with you tonight, and I think we put some amazing information. You guys did, and I appreciate it. And I just hope maybe some people will come to my channel. And if you do, if you enjoy, subscribe, hit the bell icon, feel free to leave me a comment, all that good stuff, and share my videos. And let's get to that magic number, 2,500 subs. And you guys know why, don't you? The challenge to Pavarotti.
That's right. I want to address this. This is a great moment for those who don't know. What's the heck with the glasses, 1-1? Why are you wearing glasses? Let me answer that for you. 1-1 works currently for the New York Police Department. He's NYPD. We are protecting his identity because he does not represent NYPD. He's in here unofficially giving his opinions about things related to law enforcement. So part of that sunglasses isn't because he thinks he's so cool he has to wear shades. It's because we're trying to give him a little anonymity. So while for those who don't know that maybe it looks a little pretentious, that's not what it's for. We literally, we love having NYPD in the house to be able to represent things. Again, he does not represent NYPD, and I'm sure all of the officers at NYPD don't think the same way that he does. But I would say that I have a friend in NYPD, and we appreciate him having on his viewers on the show, and it's a fantastic benefit for us to have him on here. So 1-1, thank you again for your continued service in law enforcement.
SC Michael, 38322. Thank you very much. They're saying great show. Welcome back, Jason. We missed you. I love your audience, man.
Yeah, they love you. They love you. We'll get to you, Robin, last. So Joe, last minute thoughts from you?
No, I'm just happy to be here. Always a good time. I appreciate it.
We're happy to have you as well. Again, I really, if I have probably one of my proudest things on this whole channel is this right here, this panel that we've assembled. I think it's a great vibe. It's a great feel. We cover a lot of great topics. I hope that I can keep all of you engaged in things for a while in the future, because it's a great thing. Robin, my lovely co-producer to the show, and sending out letters on behalf of our channel and getting us other engagements and keeping other people in the loop in the back, doing a lot of stuff you guys don't see. Robin, what do you want to say going out? Anything?
Rangers, assemble. Oh, sorry. No, just we have a wonderful team, and Lee, you should be so proud of what you've built. I mean, 1 million views on YouTube, that is nothing to sneeze at, my friend. So, and to each and every one of you who show up here on the channel every night watching us, crazy people here, and just, you know, our whole team, you know, we got Amanda, we got Penny, we got Cat Farm, we got Marie, she does a lot of our Luigi stuff, and so just tremendous. And I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and we'll be back, of course, again tomorrow night. So
All righty. And by the way, if you don't know, as we're closing out, Substack is a place that you can go if you sign up for my devilsdocket.substack.com. By the way, Joe also has a Substack. It's stateofthedeep.substack.com. But if you sign up for devilsdocket.substack.com, I do a recap of every show on the live for there. So if you miss a show, you can get all the show notes and decide whether or not you want to go watch the replay, because you can watch the replay. In fact, I'd love it if you watch the replay. It's how we got to 1 million views on YouTube, is you guys watching replays and stuff like that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, panelists. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.